Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I am your host, Josh, and with me is my co-host here.
Hello there, it's your boy Nick.
And we got a good show for you people today. So we're going to be discussing No Time to Die. This time we're going to be getting into spoilers, as well as Nick is going to give his review of the movie. So he wasn't here yesterday when we discussed it, so he's going to be giving his review. And we're going to be diving deeper into the film and our thoughts, and we're
Oh
going to get
yeah.
into a spoiler discussion with it. And also Lamb, which is an A24 movie that came out, horror movie. We're going to be discussing that. I'm the only person that saw it, went to the theaters to go see it, so I'm going to be reviewing that. Numi Rapace is the star of that film. People might know her from Prometheus. So she stars in that film, so we're going to be discussing that.
Whoa,
What
whoa,
if?
whoa, 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 whoa. Let's put some respect. She was the original girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah, she was also, the original girl with the dragon tattoo before she was replaced by Rooney Mara in the
Mm-hmm.
American version, which also starred Daniel Craig as well. So a little bit of a 6 degrees of separation there, a little bit there. So we have that. Also, What If episode 9 season finale. Again, Nick didn't give his review of that because he's going to give his thoughts on What If season 1 and just kind of his overall thoughts of the season and the finale. And also Ted Lasso season 2 that also just ended. We reviewed season 1. We liked it a lot, so we came back for season 2 since that ended, and we're going to be giving our thoughts on that as well. We're going to be discussing Train to Busan. This is my first time ever seeing it. Since it
Mm-hmm.
is October, we put up a poll of different movies we wanted to do. Since it is October, different horror movies. A part of the poll was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It was Train to Busan. It was Halloween 2018. And it was also, what was the last option?
Uh,
It was
uh,
Trick or Treat. That was the last option.
yep.
Trick or Treat. So we're gonna be So that was up for the poll, and then people voted, and they voted on Train to Busan for us to talk about and to review. And
Yep.
good.
And for the rest of October, we'll be having a new spooky season movie every week that'll be discussed on our Saturday show.
Yeah. We're gonna be discussing a new movie every week. So I'm gonna be putting up a new poll on Twitter, and then when it comes down to like the final two, that's when I'm gonna put the poll on Instagram. Is typically what I do, and that's when I put up there for the people to vote on as well. So that's what happens. Hey, how's it going there, Nick?
It's going good. I just came back from a little trip down to Osaka where I went to Universal Japan. Picked up this brand new Mario watch that they have like little mini games around the park that you have to unlock in order to go to some of the attractions, and that was really cool. Mario World's fucking dope.
So you gotta play a game while you're there, basically, huh? That's all
Yeah,
puzzling.
yeah. There's like puzzles and little Mario inspired games that you have to play. You have to with there's like this Bowser's Castle minigame that you have to unlock like 5 keys, and you have to play like 5 of the games around the park.
Oh, okay, that's pretty nice. Yeah, that does sound pretty dope. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I saw a lot of stuff you guys were posting on there. Looked like having a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, yeah. What was kind of some of your favorite things there?
Let's see. I think in the Jurassic Park section they have this thing called the Flying Dinosaur. It's like this little roller coaster, but you start seated like this, pretty much like back, and then the ride just shifts you down, so you're basically flying like Superman on this roller coaster.
Okay, that's pretty nice. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, another cool one was this Demon Slayer ride. It's basically a roller coaster, but you're fitted with VR goggles, and you're essentially sitting in an episode of Demon Slayer, which would have been really awesome if the ride didn't glitch out like halfway through it. So we're basically just stuck in the same spot on the track. I think it was like on the climb. So if you ever had that kind of fear on a roller coaster and then it'll suddenly just stop and you'll be stuck there for a minute, it's even weirder when you have VR goggles and you can't see the person sitting next to you, even though you might touch and feel that they're actually there.
Okay. And how much were like the tickets and everything when you went? And was it pretty pricey? Kind of going through all the attractions there. I know it's pretty much places like
Uh,
that are traps for to spend a lot of money.
the tickets themselves weren't too bad. It was all the like food and stuff that you had to buy when you were there.
Okay, because I saw you guys went to like the Harry Potter world, got a couple drinks
Hmm.
there. You're paying basically like what $30 for a root beer, basically almost.
Yes, it was a no, it was a $200 for like half of a root beer. That's what it was.
Okay, a foamy,
Two
a
two
really super
hundred,
foamy.
yeah, $200 and the soul of our firstborn child.
Yeah, pretty much. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds probably a good level there. Yeah, but yeah, it looked like a kind of great time there. Yeah, a lot of great attractions, a lot of great fun there. Yeah, it was pretty nice. So me, on that I've been up to recently, I've just been playing a lot of Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. Got that on the PS5. Been playing that. And so that game is a collection of all the kind of Nickelodeon roster that they have, basically put into a Smash-like fighting game, and it's got some rough edges to it, but I think there's a lot of things they can improve upon. I think, for instance, like if you added the voice acting to the game, it would be a whole lot better. Like so, even somebody I saw on TikTok somebody clipped in the voices of the characters, like Patrick, and I think it was Patrick and I forgot the other character, but they clipped then those two characters fighting, and that added so much to the game. And it's a nice collection of roster, and it has people who appeals to people who are fans of kind of Nickelodeon, from younger to older to more modern stuff. So there's characters in here that I don't really know of all that much, and there's characters in here who I definitely know of. Of course, everybody knows SpongeBob. I mean, SpongeBob is pretty much the Mario of this game, pretty much. So everybody knows
I
him.
mean, I mean, come on, SpongeBob is always ready, knows karate, and you literally can't destroy him.
Pretty much. I mean, so yeah, I mean, he's kind of a great fighter in the game. So he's kind of the Mario. You have other kind of SpongeBob characters like Patrick is in there, Sandy is in there. Characters that I was kind of really excited to see when I saw the trailer is Danny Phantom. I'm a big Danny Phantom fan from watching Nickelodeon, so that's kind of more me, my age, kind of early 2000s stuff. There, they also have like the Avatar characters like Korra, Toph, and Aang coming in there. You also have kind of some older stuff for older people kind of coming in, like stuff like Ren and Stimpy, kind of more older school stuff, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Even though something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I mean, that's kind of like one of those properties where it was available to every generation, like every generation almost. Like if the '80s on up, you had pretty much a Ninja Turtles. They keep doing different shows of Ninja Turtles all the time. So they, in this, but they only have right now. They only have Leonardo and Michelangelo and April O'Neil, who April O'Neil is actually like this out of the box choice to put in the game, but she's actually one of the most OP characters in the entire game. Actually, with some of the setups that people can do with her, which is pretty crazy. I mean, I thought that was kind of pretty dope. They also have Cat Dog in here, so I remember Cat Dog. They also have these characters from this show called The Loud House. This is more like the newer stuff, kind of. I don't know what The Loud House is. I think that's more for like newer, younger kids that are watching Nickelodeon right now. So have like Lincoln Loud and Lucy Loud. They also have like Rugrats. I remember the Rugrats. Reptar, that was a '90s show that came on. Hey Arnold. Right now they only have Helga from Hey Arnold in there. So again, that's another show from like if you grew up in the '90s and early 2000s, you probably know that show. The Wild Thornberries. They have Nigel Thornberry from that. So that, it's a nice collection of roster. And they plan to add on more people like Krusty Krab. Krusty the Krab is coming to play. And they got him. Jimmy Neutron is coming in there. I think in order to be a better game, I think they need to fix some of the mechanics of it a little bit. Sometimes I played a little bit of it. I've been kind of just mashing for a little bit now, but
Okay.
yeah, but just fix some of that kind of stuff. Some of the backgrounds and details need to be better for first. I mean, this was kind of an indie game for the most part, made by like an indie studio. There wasn't a whole lot of
really?
money. Yeah, there wasn't like a whole lot of money that was put into it, but for what they had, I think it's a pretty decent job. I think if they add the voices to it, because it just feels weird without them. I think if they kind of add better detail to the stages, add the music from the cartoons into it, I think it would also improve it a lot. I think if they, some characters, there's some kind of broken moves they, kind of have with some characters that are definitely probably going to be fixed later on, like Leonardo. I mean, the hitbox with his swords is absolutely crazy. The stuff you can do with him, that's just absolutely crazy. And so I think they're going to kind of nerf some of the stuff like that. But overall, I think it's a pretty fun game. I think it's kind of fun. And then later on, I think if this becomes a big hit, more people get into it, then they're gonna obviously do kind of more stuff like that. And then the going online, the fact that a lot of big thing is it has rollback netcode, which means it's just better to the experience of better to play online is up there. Something that Smash doesn't even have. So that makes the experience playing online a lot better. And yeah, I mean, I've been playing as core for the most part. Her move set is kind of basic for the most part. Some of the characters, yeah, move sets are kind of basic that you would kind of more expand upon. Like the throw in the game, you only just kind of pick up a person with one hand and that's it. I wish each character had their own kind of custom throw animation there. So I wish they would do that with, in the game. And you can basically set up your controls however you want, which is nice. So it's, optional for people who play the game. So that's good. If you want to, have the controls, if you're more familiar with Smash or something like that, set up the controls like that. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and hopefully, we'll get kind of more things added on to it as it continues. But I think this is a nice start, for right now, as of what this game is. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoy playing it quite a bit myself. All right, so moving on from that, gonna be talking about No Time to Die. So I talked about this, reviewed it with Dusk yesterday. And I'm gonna give Nick a chance. So, Nick, what did you think about No Time to Die?
Okay, No Time to Die. For me, this is I think a friend of the show, Nathan Flynn, put it best. This is kind of like this is kind of like the last Jedi of this Craig era of Bond. It's kind of taken a lot of stuff that did not work in Spectre. A lot of creative choices that Sam Mendes made with Spectre that just did not work. And and expanding on them and recontextualizing a lot of the stuff that didn't work. It still won't ever make me go back and revisit Spectre again, but I think for the most part it worked here. Like the character choices with Leia Sedu's Madeline Swan. I think Spectre they had her play a character that absolutely just completely clashed with her strengths as an actress because she excels at playing that really sensual femme fatale, and they improved it a lot here. They did a great job at establishing a more threatening presence with its villain in Rami Malek. And granted, I don't think he's that strong in it, but because of the nature of his plot and because it involves a virus, I'd imagine a lot of it ended up on the cutting room floor, which is weird to say for a movie that is pushing 3 hours. Daniel Craig, I think he gives his absolute best performance as James Bond, and I think this is probably the first one of his era that, since Casino Royale, I'd say, that allows James Bond to be human and have emotion. All of the new additions to the cast are fucking excellent. Lashana Lynch, she is going toe to toe with Daniel Craig, and I really bought their relationship and chemistry, and that initial antagonism that grows into respect. Ana de Armas, the only problem I have with her character is that she's not in it a lot, but her segment of the movie is so much fun. And on top of that, this is the best action sequences that have been in a Bond movie, in Craig's Bond movies, and I'll go ahead and say it, in a Bond movie, period. There's a scene towards the third act that, if you've watched True Detective, you know Cary Fukunaga loves his long single take action scenes, and that scene in this movie, just chef's kiss. I do think the movie is a little bit slow paced. It drags a little bit in, I'd say, its second act, but then again, what Bond movie doesn't? The villain's actual overall plan is really fucking stupid, but again, that's kind of just indicative of the James Bond franchise. But for me, just purely as a guy who has kind of been hot and cold on Craig's Bond, this is a amazing love letter, an amazing send off for his character. I absolutely dug the hell out of it. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Mm.
Dusk, I believe, gave it a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10,
Mm.
somewhere around there. Yeah, so I gave it like a light 7 out of 10. And we pretty much agreed a lot of the same stuff. I like Anna de Armas. I like Lashana Lynch. We talked about that. We talked about maybe haven't seen them return in another Bond movie
Hmm.
possibly because I did enjoy their characters. I also kind of felt the movie was just overly long. Just 2 hours 43 minutes. That is just pretty long for this. With just kind of like it feels like a lot of the story is kind of just driving in quicksand a lot of times and just in the mud. Just so many kind of different places it's going and characters kind of come in and out and like you have I didn't even mention him in the review but that Billy Magnuson's character like him kind of showing up it's like you instantly kind of maybe even know like okay I kind of see where this character's kind of gonna go. um,
Credit to him. He's just an actor that you get when you have a character that in his description is a douchebag.
yeah I mean yeah
He's just the guy you get.
yeah
And good on him because he's great at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is good at it. And with kind of additional Lashana Lynch, I know there was kind of that whole big thing when she kind of came on, and then they said she's going to be the 007, and people freaked out about it. And
Let's see. Discourse on the internet involving a woman of color. Yeah.
yeah, and it was a lot of situations like that. But like you said, I mean, the movie kind of starts off with this antagonistic relationship that we mentioned between the two of
Hmm.
them. But as
Yeah, her
more
just talking shit.
Yeah. Constantly about him and what I mean, and him throwing shots at him being old and what I mean, this old guy and it's like I'm the new generation basically. I'm the
Yeah,
future is now old man and
yeah,
basically
which is kind of one of the weirder things of Craig's Bond because with Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, we got the impression that he was younger, he was brand new Double O, and then all of a sudden in Skyfall, he's like old, trying to retire every 5 minutes, kind of like what Christian Bale's Batman was doing.
yeah. I mean, didn't in every one of Craig's Bond movies hasn't he like retired his Bond like he retired his double O like pretty much in every one? Because like in Quantum in Casino.
Except Quantum of Solace, I think.
Except, yeah, because he did it. He kind of did it in Skyfall, then and he did it in Casino Royale when he went with Vesper Lynn. Skyfall, he got injured. And he was like, okay, maybe it's time to take a break. Then Spectre, did he do it in Spectre too? I can't remember Spectre all that much.
Uh, Dude, Spectre is just a 2.5 hour black hole of a movie. I barely remember shit from it.
Yeah.
I didn't even rewatch it to get hyped for No Time to Die. I just watched like a movie's recap channel,
Okay. Yeah.
and basically the entire thing is yeah. So the actor who adamantly said he wasn't playing a character from the old franchise lied his ass off,
Yeah.
and Christoph Waltz was playing Blofeld, which everybody knew the second he was cast.
Pretty much. Yeah. And well, at least Rami Malek, he's not Doctor No. He isn't Doctor No.
Rami Malek's actually appropriately cast in a movie, unlike that Denzel thing he did a couple months ago, The Little Things.
Yeah. So here, yeah, the villain. I just don't think it worked all the way for Rami Malek. It wasn't. I
Hmm.
don't think his performance was bad. I just think the character. I mean, there's barely really much time with the villain, all that much, and
Hmm.
when he comes on, it's kind of like okay. I mean, it's not all that effective for me. The stuff that he was doing, or the
Yeah,
way the character was written.
I think with Bond movies, a lot of them are carried off of the strength of the villain. Like with Casino Royale, you have that spectacular, almost star-making performance from Mads Mikkelsen. In Skyfall, you had Javier Bardem chewing up all of the scenery. And with Rami Malek, I think they wanted to invoke a lot of the same vibes with Bardem, but I think because of the virus plan he had, I think a lot of it got cut,
Maybe.
and
Uh,
especially given like the last year and a half we had.
yeah. So to get into some kind of spoilers here, just discuss some kind of stuff, going more in depth. Some stuff that just didn't make sense. I guess I'm going to talk about, and you're going to talk about a little bit. When
Okay.
he so they go to the island. So the climax is they go to the island, and it kind of seemed like they were trying to hit all the major Bond things before Daniel Craig retired, like remote base on the
Hmm.
island, and you know what I mean, and the situation of the girlfriend and having, kind of globe-trotting trips around the world, because he goes to Cuba and then he goes to this island in Japan and things like that. So he's trying to really incorporate all these elements, the puns, there, the gadgets, he has a nice little kind of spy plane there and a magnetic watch. The henchman, kind of with this bionic eye, trying to include kind of some of the kind of all the great stuff from the Bond series into this for Craig's outing. So with this, so when they go to the base and everything, and Rami Malek, so he's kidnapped. His girlfriend Madeline and the daughter, who is James Bond's daughter, he kidnaps them, puts them on the island. Didn't really make any sense to me why he would let the girl go, since that was like the whole purpose of him getting the girl, and he says like, okay, I'm just gonna let you go. That is, to me, that just didn't make a lot of sense to me, all that much. What did you kind of think about that?
I thought it was kind of like a it doesn't matter, you're already dead thing, because his end game was to infect James Bond with that virus, and that would have killed both Madeline and the girl. So it wouldn't have mattered if he had her or not.
But at that time, he didn't infect him with the virus. Like he didn't. I mean, he didn't really technically know that he was going to really infect Bond with the virus at that time.
Well, I think this kind of reminds me of like that criticism with The Dark Knight and with Skyfall, and how every single like little thing went exactly to their plan. And in my mind, it's like, we don't know if this was their overall plan. This was probably like plan A or plan D or plan C.
Okay. And we also mentioned, because Dusk also mentioned this, I forgot this. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she also came on to write this.
Yeah,
This is her first.
she was a co-writer on this movie.
Yeah. So this is her first feature film. Screen credit here for her. She's the writer and creator and a star of the show called Fleabag, which is on Amazon Prime. It only has 2 seasons. I don't think like a few, like 5 episodes or so each season. So it's
co-creator, writer on Fleabag, and doesn't she also have a screen credit for Enola Holmes?
I don't know.
I think she does.
You can try looking it up.
Nope. No, she doesn't. Yeah, but she did Fleabag, and she did Killing Eve.
Yeah,
as a writer.
And she's also been like the star. She was the voice of the robot in Solo, the horny robot there in Solo. So she kind of did some punch up here a little bit there, writing the wise with the script. And some stuff I think you could kind of tell where her influence was there. Not to say it's bad, because I think her writing is really good. You watch Fleabag, she's very funny, and the show is very funny. Some of the stuff, kind of the humor just didn't work all the time. It just felt kind of awkward. Like we mentioned before, like the scene where Ray Fiennes as M, he reinstates Bond as a 00, and then she keeps saying 00 what? You know what I mean? She says that like twice in that scene, and I just felt like that was kind of awkward. Didn't really work all that much.
I think that was kind of the point of that scene. It was that awkwardness, and because I think at that point in the movie, her and Bond are still kind of butting heads.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got it. I just don't think that it just didn't. It wasn't funny really all that much. I get it, kind of supposed to be awkward, but it wasn't. I just don't think it kind of worked all that much. And kind of what did you think about it? I think I kind of felt that with the Ana de Armas character, Paloma.
I think with this, a big criticism of the last 2 Bond movies with Spectre and with Skyfall, even though I do really like Skyfall, its treatment of the women is really suspect. It's like he goes into the shower of a former child sex slave and meets her, and then he basically just gropes a woman after like her husband's funeral.
Yeah.
Which is kind of suspect. And even when I was seeing it in the theater, it was like, I don't know about this. And I think this movie goes a long way of at least modernizing Bond and saying that, okay, this is kind of like these past treatments of women of the opposite sex. It doesn't really work in today's day and age. Nathan Flint, he brought up this point, is you could have a movie that respects the female characters, but Bond doesn't necessarily have to. You could pretty much do like a Sterling Archer thing. And maybe that'll be something that they try for the next person to play James Bond.
So it's interesting. So might as well talk about the future of James Bond. So at the end of this movie, so they kill James Bond. In the ending, he gets sent off because Safin, Rami Malek's character, he infects James Bond with this nanovirus. That was also kind of another thing, nanobots. I'm surprised they were kind of still using that in plots. Like, I thought the nanobots thing
I
was.
mean, come on, come on. What Bond villain's plan isn't really fucking stupid when you put any kind of critical thought into it?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like an old like 2010s kind of thing. I remember like a GI Joe. I think the first GI Joe movie had that plot with like nanobots or
Oh
some shit.
yeah, it was like net. Oh, fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt just these nanobots eat anything, metal, flesh.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like I was like, well, that's an old school plot you throwing, you kind of bring it up again. But so he infects James Bond with it, and then it's the virus that can infect people. As soon as you touch them, it's a targeted virus, so it can pass through one person and go to another person and kill them instantly. So now since he's infected James Bond with the virus that targets both his daughter and wife, that he can't go anywhere near them, and any way he touches it can possibly pass the virus to them. So he ends up just staying on the island while it's about to get blown up, so he dies. So Dusk was mentioning how some people might be split over that. Did you did you like that kind of send off of them killing Craig's Bond here?
Um, honestly, looking at that scene, I kind of reminded me of The Force Awakens when Harrison Ford dies, and he's like, "Oh, freedom." But in all seriousness, I think that was kind of the natural conclusion for this James Bond because so much of his backstory is mired in tragedy. It's like he finally in Casino Royale, he's finally vulnerable with another woman, and it turns out she betrayed him. Um, he goes back and does the right thing to try and save M in Skyfall, and she ends up dying. His for some reason his adopted brother in Blofeld murdered his parents, and now he finally finds that woman that he's ready to retire and settle down with has this daughter, and he can't be with them. And I think that's like this very bittersweet note for Craig's Bond to go off of, especially because it's kind of radical for this character. Because you have a character who is kind of this serial womanizer, and his final arc is, hey, he met someone and he's trying to settle down.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of liked it. I mean, you compare it like to Star Wars. That's what Dust said as well. He talked about it being like kind of like this Rise of Skywalker or Last
Oh,
Jedi,
sweet freedom.
Last Jedi
And
kind of thing.
Craig is like, oh, sweet freedom.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, he was kind of just looking up at the missiles and everything coming. Like Luke was kind of looking at the two suns at the end of the kind of Last Jedi. He's
It
kind
was
of
like the Joker when Batman's trying to run him down. Hit me.
yeah. I mean, pretty much that's kind of how it was. I mean, I thought it was kind of a good ending. Like I said, I think it was good to wrap up Craig's Bond, see where they go. So, what do you think?
And even in the end, I felt like it was kind of a good note to go off of, as that even though Safin's dead, he still won. He still won, kind of. He killed all of Spectre, which was shockingly his goal from the start, and he basically killed Bond.
Yeah, I mean, he did accomplish for the most part what he really wanted to do, the revenge mission that he was on. So now the future of kind of Bond, kind of just where do you think it's going to go now? I like the inspired, directing choice to get Cary Fukunaga. I think that's kind of a very inspired choice to get him. I mean, he wouldn't
Yeah,
be a top guy I thought would probably get it, but I thought he did a good job with the drama scenes. It was shot very nicely. I just thought it was kind of overly long, but I thought he did some good stuff there. So future of Bond, kind of what are you kind of thinking here? Where the direction
honestly,
they're gonna go?
honestly, I wouldn't be mad to see Cary Fukunaga get another shot at Bond, especially considering in one of his earliest projects in True Detective, the writer of that was such an abusive dickhead to him. And I'd imagine a lot of the film ended up on the cutting room floor. And just the kind of hectic the kind of chaotic method that this movie was released. It was delayed for almost an entire year because of COVID, and all this like dancing back and forth of, is it going to end up on streaming? Is it going to theaters? Am I going to get my directing percentage? And I would like to see him get another shot under normal circumstances, and potentially with another actor playing Bond, or even just continuing some of the threads that you left here, like continuing giving Ana de Armas her own spy movie, giving Lashana Lynch a chance at being a new kind of 007, or just have that be kind of the through line of just having different actors play the role with the designation 007. It doesn't necessarily have to be James Bond.
Um, I mean, I don't know. Possibly doing like the whole spin-offs type thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about kind of all that stuff. I know everybody wants to do the whole universe thing and do the spin-offs, and you know what I mean, and see where that goes. I like those characters. I would want to see more of them, like I said. Depending on kind of where that goes. Um, Yeah, I mean, Fukunaga, I'd like to see maybe come back and do one. I'd like to see it cut down a lot more, for sure. But yeah, Denis Villeneuve even came out and said he would, maybe possibly like to direct a James Bond movie. Same thing to him. I know he likes to have his movies run on for 2 hours, 30 plus. You can't be doing that over here with this James Bond shit, bro. You need to cut this shit down. We ain't doing that, bro. We ain't rocking with that. But yeah, I mean, I like to see him maybe do one. We already talked about possible casting choices we would like to see James Bond do, but we don't really know what these kind of studios are going to decide. And as far as where the rights of Bond, and I mean, Craig was the longest running Bond, 15 years, and that a lot had to do with kind of the rights being kind of juggled around and the pandemic and
the rights being juggled around the pandemic, and for a long time they weren't even allowed to use the name Spectre in Bond.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of depends on how long before we see another Bond movie or anything related kind of Bond content is going to be kind of depending. I don't really know in the foreseeable future when we're going to see more Bond. But I thought it was a solid finale for the Craig Bond movies. I thought he ended on a pretty good note for the most part, and I thought it was pretty a solid outing. Is it the best of the Craig Bond movies? I don't really think so. I think Royale or maybe Skyfall is better.
Yeah, as of now, I think I have it Casino Royale, then No Time to Die, then Skyfall, then Quantum of Solace, and then Spectre.
Yeah. I have to rewatch them all of them again to make sure, but yeah, I think I have Casino Royale and then Skyfall and then
You don't need to rewatch Spectre.
yeah, and then Quantum of Solace and yeah, somewhere around there at the bottom, and then I'd say this is the third best. No Time to Die.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace. It's a movie that literally did not have a script when it was shooting because of the writer's strike.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's worked out. I mean Iron Man didn't have a script coming into it, and that worked out well. So that was kind of
but that was intentional.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. You know what I mean? Depending, yeah. But yeah, so I thought it was a solid outing for him. Final performance is Daniel Craig as Bond, and thought it was pretty good there. All right, so moving on from discussing No Time to Die, going to discuss a movie that I only saw, a movie called Lamb. This movie starring Noomi Rapace. As we mentioned, Noomi Rapace. She was the star of Prometheus, which was the Alien prequel. She was also the star of the original Dragon, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, as we mentioned before. So in this film, you have a couple, play Maria and Ingvar. They kind of have this farm in Iceland where they herd sheep and lambs, hence the title there, lambs. And they kind of have this unexpected life that kind of comes to them, and kind of comes to them and kind of fills this void with them, and it kind of becomes a part of their life, and kind of ends up bringing them this happiness, and you kind of see where things kind of lead to them. And I'm kind of trying to be as vague as kind of possible here because I think it's best you not knowing much coming into it, and you know what I mean, and trying to really not really hear much, maybe not really kind of just go in, watch it with yourself, and kind of see what you think. Watching it, I will say, kind of beautiful looking film because it's it's on this farm and beautiful kind of locale. And the movie, it is does have subtitles. They don't speak English in the movie. They only speak in subtitles. Um, and I will say the performances are really great. There's not a lot of stuff that's said. There's a lot of looks and kind of glances of acknowledgement and of kind of moving forward of what's going to happen with these characters, of these characters kind of coming into an agreement on things and where they are, and it just kind of acceptance. And I thought that was really good. So I think the performances are really good in this movie as well.
Okay, so without giving away, what would you say this movie is kind of thematically about?
Thematically, it's about a childless couple who finds happiness. You know what I mean, with another life. I'd say
Okay.
to fill that void of being a childless couple. I would say is thematically what the movie is about. Um, and having kind of seen it, and I was watching it in the theater. Even though it has these great qualities like this, and I love to see movies like this being made, especially coming from A24 type stuff. Very kind of unique stories and filmmaking and unique stories being told. Watching it, I just kind of was like, okay, what's happening here? Not to say I was confused about what was happening. I understood, what was kind of going on from a plot standpoint, story standpoint, just as a point of, okay, what are we building up to here? What are we building up to? What's kind of going to be, the ultimate conclusion? What are you leading up to? What's kind of kind of think about it. And maybe if you see the trailer, maybe you think like, oh man, it's gonna be some crazy shit going on. No, not really. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be that. It's the reaction that these characters have is kind of strange in some way. It's not really the reaction at first, even just at first of when they first see it. It's just kind of like not the reaction that you think that these people would have, but they've come so quick into acknowledging it and treating it as this thing in their life. And then you have another character who comes in here who's the brother of Numi Rapace's husband in the film. And he kind of comes in. I mean, he's the one that's a little bit more, kind of giving more of a general reaction to things. He comes in and is kind of, what the fuck is this? And kind of what's happening. And he kind of gives a more, I think, appropriate audience reaction to things. But he quickly kind of goes into it, into just kind of accepting things. Yeah, I mean, I think that I hate to kind of use this word, but I was a little bored at times. I was kind of just like, okay, what are we getting to here? Um, you know, and some of the kind of work they do CGI wise. I mean, this is not a huge movie here. Sometimes CGI, when it was kind of the thing that you'll see that is CGI, it did look good when it was kind of just standing still at times, where it wasn't really moving too much. But then there was times when it would move around where it kind of looked like, the Wayne's brother and Lil Man at times. You know what I mean? Like it would kind of have that effect to it. Where it was kind of like, kind of moving and kind of was like, oh, this kind of looks really bad. You know what I mean? It was kind of just moving around like that at times. But I think when it was kind of just in one place, it looked kind of good. And I just think the overall watching it, I was just kind of like, okay, let's go. Let's kind of like, okay, let's build up to this point, and let's kind of get this done. So yeah, I mean, I think there's, I mean, I like to see more movies like this, even though I wasn't impressed by it myself. I think the story is very good. It's just that I just don't think there's really building up to much, and there's not really much to get, just to get that excited about, story wise. Even though I did think the story was kind of unique in a way, and the performances were good, and like I said, beautiful scenery, imagery, with on this farm and everything, and how stuff is, but ultimately I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is not really much for me to really just kind of just jump out with as far as excitement and love for it all that much. And I know a lot of people are really digging it that much, really digging in and calling like this modern day folk tale and things like that. And I see that, and I thematically I see what they were going for. But for me, I just kind of was left cold by the movie all that much. I thought it was great. Numi Pace, really, sells it very well. Emotion in the movie very well. So does the husband. But yeah, for me, I would give it a 6 out of 10. For me, like light 6 out of 10 for me. Yeah, I think it's still something maybe people should check out, see what you think about it. But I don't know if I was just maybe coming in expecting something a little, maybe more crazier since I saw the trailer. I was like, oh man, maybe things are gonna get kind of more crazier. But and this some things I do kind of want explanations on that I don't think they fully kind of had in the movie or really even hinted towards. An explanation. Something I would kind of more align maybe like The Witch. Where I know a lot of people say about The Witch had like kind of like a very slow nature of it and slow buildup of it, but it did kind of have these good payoffs towards the end and everything like that that I think made it worth it and you really kind of enjoyed it and kind of rewarded you for watching it almost. And I don't think this one does that all that much. So yeah, I still think it's it's not a terrible film, and it's I said it got great things about it, and some people might love it for what it is. But for me, I just kind of was not all that enthusiastic about it, and I would give it a 6 out of 10 for me. All right. So moving on from discussing Lamb, we're gonna be discussing What If, Nick, season finale of the stuff. I talked about it with Dusk yesterday. I'm gonna let Nick talk about the season finale of What If. Go ahead there.
So, what if we are finally getting our kind of a Guardians of the Multiverse adventure featuring Captain Carter, T'Challa, Star Lord, Doctor Strange Supreme, Party Thor, Gamora, who I guess killed Thanos, but we didn't get to see that episode, and last but not least, Killmonger, the guy you should not have on a team ever because he is Captain Backstabber.
Yep, absolutely. And also, I mentioned before in the other review, they were going to call it the Guardians of the Multiverse. I called that when we reviewed episode 8. Yeah, I called that.
Yep. The team up itself is actually really cool. I like that we got to have quieter moments with all of the characters interacting because in normal circumstances this is probably something that we wouldn't get to see in the live action MCU because we have characters that are dead interacting with people that are still alive, like Peggy Carter finally interacting with Doctor Strange. Thor, we only got to see a little bit of that in Thor Ragnarok. And Killmonger and T'Challa get to have an actual conversation with each other, which is something that I felt needed to happen more of in Black Panther. But the episode itself, I thought it was fairly well paced. This is kind of like the MCU's big bombastic finale. Outside of a few plot holes, I thought the episode was really fun. It was a very nice conclusion to this kind of more experimental phase of the MCU, getting to see characters from different universes interact with each other. And I felt that it did a good job of not nerfing Ultron so that they could get an easy win. It was very hard fought. Even the kind of reveal that the plan was, hey, we're not expecting you to win. You just got to get the stones away from him, was kind of a cool thing that happened. And I really thought the conclusion of it was really heartfelt and emotional. Getting to see the Apocalypse Black Widow get to go back to the universe where the Avengers died. And I hope to see more of stuff like that with the Watcher. But at the same time, I kind of wish that the season stayed more standalone than it ended up being.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, some of the issues, got reported. COVID had a big impact on this show.
Hmm.
That's why we didn't get to see the Gamora episode where she was wearing the Thanos armor and she had his blade and everything like that. So that was a whole lost episode that we didn't get to see. I think they said we'll get to see it. Season 2 is where we get to see that Gamora episode and everything like that. Because she just kind of appears, you know what I mean? Thanos just kind
Hmm.
of, the Watcher just kind of just grabs her and just goes like, okay, you're a part of this team. So clearly she was supposed to have her own
And
episode.
Tony Stark is like, no, not you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like clearly you were supposed to have your own episode, but didn't get the chance. So she knows how to work the Infinity Crusher, the Infinity Stone Crusher thingy. So that's part of the reason drag her over.
Which for some reason that doesn't work, but he can still use the Infinity Stones in a reality that isn't his own.
Yeah, because that was the thing that somebody was mentioning. Somebody was mentioning you can only use the Infinity Stones. You can't, in your universe, you can't use them in other universes in the comics. Apparently, somebody was
Well,
mentioning that.
I think they probably should have had like just like a line of, yeah, they still work, but not to their full capacity like they would in his own universe.
Yeah, maybe they should have did something like that. And that was kind of, I think that's why I always had a complaint with a lot of these episodes that they could have added, extra 10 minutes, 15 more minutes with these episodes, some
Hmm.
of them. And that also had a COVID, had an impact on that, on some of the length of these episodes as well, as far as what they wanted to do. So, that's kind of a shame. So hopefully season 2, they can, kind of, not have that hindering the project there. But yeah, I thought it was a solid season. I mentioned how it kind of is disappointing that because they can only stick to the MCU stuff and the MCU characters that we all know, it makes it kind of limited in some of the stuff they can do. It
Hmm.
still is kind of cool to see these what if kind of stories with the characters, but it makes it kind of limited in some aspects. But with season 2, the creator said we're going to focus more on the Phase 4 stuff. So we'll see Shang-Chi, the Eternals, maybe some stuff like that kind of going
Hmm.
into it. So, that'd be pretty
Cool.
nice.
And yeah, and as of now, I don't think season 2 is announced. They just have 9 blank episodes listed on IMDb.
Yeah. So hopefully, I thought they would maybe go for 10 since it was supposed to maybe have 10 this. So, but guess they're going with 9 again. I thought it was a nice way to cap off the season. Thought the season was solid. Think you can definitely make some improvements
Hmm.
there. There was some kind of definitely kind of episodes I just kind of mail on, like Captain Carter episode. Even though I do like that character of Captain Carter, I always like to see Haley
Yeah,
Atwell back.
yeah. Haley Atwell is to quote the Cinema Wins channel, always a win. But even if that I thought was the weakest episode, I felt like it was still fairly solid. It was pretty much a cut and paste of Captain America: The First Avenger, but I still really liked Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Solid. Yeah, for the most part, yeah. So yeah, so I think for the most part, I think this season 1 would have had better episodes than it had kind of weaker episodes. Like I did enjoy the T'Challa Star Lord episode. I did enjoy the penultimate episode of this season a lot. And the finale, the Party Thor episode, the zombies episode, I thought was okay. When Doctor Strange turned evil, I thought was a good one as well. So I think this season had some really good episodes with it, and did have some kind of better ups than it did down, and I was very kind of impressed what they did with the stuff, and I'd be interested to see what they do with season 2, and everything they do. Moving on from What If, season 1 there, we're going to get into Ted Lasso, season 2. So here we have Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis, back again as everybody's favorite coach. And here, we reviewed season 1, and we kind of liked it so much we're going to come back and review season 2 since it just ended already. So we were just like, yeah, why not? Let's come back. Season 2 just ended. Season 1 just ended. We finished season 1, so season 2 just ended. So might as well just kind of come back and kind of review season 2 as well. So in this season here, you have Ted Lasso still kind of coaching the team, and they're basically on this continuous draw streak where they keep just getting draws over and over and over again. And and with that, a lot of people just kind of frustrated with that. The fans, the team, just incredibly kind of frustrated with that. And then in the midst of them kind of in this game, the first episode, you have Danny, who's one of the football players there, who ends up kicking a ball and killing a dog, which puts him in a in a huge
Wait,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
which is a hilarious moment, but very but I think something that this show balances really well, having like really dark comedy in certain aspects, even as lighthearted as the show is.
Yeah, and the show is very good at kind of balancing kind of those elements, light humor, dark humor, as well as just also some drama that we'll get into as well throughout the view of things they do with some of the characters here that also work very well. But Danny, when he kills his dog, they have to send in a a professional therapist, and I wonder, the actress who plays the therapist there, because I thought she did a really terrific job.
Oh yes, the actress playing the therapist is named Sarah Niles, who's playing Dr. Sharon. She is wonderful, and kind of like what we were talking about with No Time to Die. Initially, she's kind of like she's almost set up to be this antagonist to Ted Lasso because, well, Ted is very much a guy from the Midwest who has kind of that expected skepticism towards therapy. And the longer the season goes on, the more you get to understand more about his backstory and why Ted has kind of this kind of toxic positive outlook that he has.
Yeah. So yeah, digs more into the character, and why he was kind of having the panic attacks, because that was something that happened also in season one, where he had these brief kind of panic attacks that kind of happened that just kind of crippled him.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of get into more why he has that. And you're right. I mean, they kind of set up as like she's going to be this antagonist to him, and she's going to be the person that maybe the team goes to for everything, and then he's kind of going to be displaced as the coach and as a person that they listen to, and they only listen to maybe the therapist, but it isn't treated that way at all. And eventually, the therapist does warm up to him because of course he's Ted Lasso. Eventually, everybody starts off,
Yeah.
what I mean, not liking him or going like, okay, hey, I'm just going to keep this.
Yeah, he's a
going.
character that just wears you down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But he just constantly puts that pressure, and then he's just, baking her things and replacing her bike and doing all these things, and you know what I mean? And, just eventually, it just kind of, like I said, it just kind of wears it down. Eventually, she just starts to like him like everybody does eventually. I mean, people just can't help it. I mean, that's just the Ted Lasso effect there. So, yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of a great relationship, and to see where that develops throughout the season is very good. You also have you also with this season you see kind of the development of more characters like the Sam character, who is the Nigerian football player. He started off in kind of season one as like this rookie you didn't really know what to do, but then coming in this season he's more developed. He's really coming into his own, his talent, so he's really flourished as a player now. So he's kind of one of the star players on the team now. Now that Jamie Tart is gone. So now he's the main guy. So it's kind of good to see him, and he kind of gets a lot more development. And he gets his own romantic kind of subplot going on here that is, very very cute, very sweet type stuff here. You know what I mean? He has that thing that people do where you're on a dating app, and you're waiting for for that text message back, and I mean I thought that
it's like 3 dots, yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought that was very sweet, and this relationship the team has together is also very good as well. Like all the characters, even though some of these characters don't get all that much, kind of screen time a lot, but to see the kind of them all interact and all of them together is always a good time, and to see that kind of camaraderie together with the team is always good. Moments like that I thought was kind of very funny and very good stuff. Like when one of the players gives him one of his famous haircuts, he's like, "Oh, this is a special haircut," and that whole kind of moment for his date I thought was really great.
Yeah, it's treated with as much reverence as that would be.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of good moments, and and Sam meets the person he's in a romantic he ends up in a romantic relationship with through this dating app that is created by the Juno Temple character in the show. And Juno Temple, she's still with Roy Kent, and you see how that relationship is kind of going there.
Yeah, that relationship is just so sweet, and so it's nice to see actual positive representations of adult dating couple in TV, because so many of them just lean onto the toxic and definitely borderline abusive side.
Yeah, and they have their troubles too in it, and their moments like any couple does, which is very nice to see. Kind of very realistic stuff that they fight over, and they're kind of start to get into now that they've been dating longer, kind of the troubles and
Hmm.
tribulations that come with that. It's always great to also see just Roy Kent, what I mean, interact with him and other people, especially when he's with his niece. That's always a good time. I think that's very funny, and he's just absolutely what I mean, always has great moments there when he's ever interacting with her, and has just great moments of advice, and he's just always direct to the point, what I mean, no bullshit, no fluff, what I mean, which is always kind of sweet. Which he even eventually he ends up getting his own like TV gig. He becomes like a color commentator for the game
Yeah,
for a bit.
yeah, because at the end of the last season, he's basically retired from football, and at the start he's kind of in this kind of limbo of, okay, what am I gonna do now? And how it's handled, I'd say in episode 5, it's wonderful, culminating in there's so many like great emotional moments in this season. It's hard to pick out one that stands out as the best.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about our favorite episodes and episodes that we really liked a lot because I got some picks here. Also, you have Rebecca, the Rebecca character. She's also, still trying to find, kind of love herself, trying to get into a relationship, trying to put herself out there. And they, put her in a lot of beautiful dresses. I mean, she was hiding a lot of great figure under them robes in Game of Thrones because it's like, wow, holy shit. Because lots of moments here where she's dating a lot of sexy guys and good looking guys and everything, and she there's a moment where she gets to be sexy and it's like, whoa, holy crap. Yeah, she's absolutely stunning. There's a lot of great.
Because you didn't see it in Game of Thrones, Krypton, but Hannah Waddingham can get it.
She absolutely is great, and she has some great moments as well. There's a funeral episode in here that really is kind of I think her best episode in this season, and kind of her. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think with season 1, a little bit of the detriment is because even though it is such an ensemble show, you didn't really get to spend a lot of time with individual characters. Because it's an ensemble, you have only like 35, 40 some minutes. You only have a set amount of time that you can spend with each character. Here, I think in season 2, they're already established, so we can kind of give each character their own episode. Like I think 5, it's more Roy Kent's episode. 6, it's kind of the Jamie Tart episode, and the funeral, it's Rebecca's showcase.
Yeah. Each character you're able to expand more on the characters and kind of see what their whole outlook is. And Rebecca, this season you really get to focus on her outlook on relationships and how she's that fear of being vulnerable and commitment and that ultimately of what it leads to and the pain it leads to, and you get to see the reason behind that in the funeral episode. And she has kind of a great scene there, which I thought was really great to watch. Like I said, they mentioned Jamie Tart, who in this season, you first see him. He's kind of starting off in a reality dating show type thing. And
he basically did a stint on Too Hot to Handle.
Yeah, pretty much. Or like I know, like a lot of people in England have that
Love Island.
Love Island, yeah, that's basically what it is. Seemed like it was basically like Love Island, basically, which is like a big reality show in London, I know. And so basically, he was on a show like that. He got kicked off, and the only reason he was kind of primarily doing it was just to piss off his dad. So you kind of see that relationship. If you watch season 1, kind of he had this tumultuous relationship with his father. That kind of comes back here in season 2. And, he's kind of trying to rejoin the Richmond team because when he went to the reality show, the team that he first, kind of left the Richmond team for in season 1 kind of didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore after he went on the reality show. So now he's trying to come back to the team that he first left in season 1, coached by Lasso, the Richmond team.
Yeah, and continuing on from that character growth from the first season with Jamie Tart, it culminates in episode 8 with one of the most emotional endings to an episode.
Yeah, and there's a lot of growth for his character because he's not, before in season 1 he was the asshole star player there. Now he's trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to be a better person. And you see that in season 2, so he's not trying to be that anymore. You also see more stuff with Ted Lasso's right hand man. They call him.
Coach Beard, who's played wonderfully by Brendan Hunt.
Yeah, he has his own episode just dedicated to him about a night out that he has, which is to me one of my favorite episodes of the
Hmm.
season.
Yeah, I love that episode too. It was a really cool departure um from this uh from this kind of formula of the show, which I think a lot of sitcoms should take more of, and a huge like inspiration from stuff like After Hours, the Martin Scorsese movie,
Yeah.
and
So
just following Coach Beard after this long night after the team loses a game.
yeah, and and they lose that game badly too. They get smacked. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, you know what I mean. I thought it's kind of going to be like when they do those things, like, oh, it was a tough loss and we were this close. Like, nah, they just get straight up smacked. I mean,
Nah, that wasn't a game. That was an ass whooping.
yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah. And so you kind of see his kind of wild night after they lose the game, where he hangs out with the three members that are always in the bar. Those three guys who are
Yeah,
always
those
at the
three guys
bar.
who, yeah, the two of them are kind of assholes, and then the big black dude is just like always nice. It's like, wanker. It's like nice family though.
Yeah, I mean, that's those three people. If they didn't do this episode where they were hanging out with Coach B, I thought those three people were just like spirits that just always just haunted the bar there, pretty much. So they always just at the bar, just watching. They'll just watch anything on TV. They're watching a Bake Off, and they're screaming at the TV watching Bake Off. There, you know what I mean?
I mean, shit. Have you watched British Bake Off? That shit is fucking fire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. They were just screaming, drinking there. You know what I mean, and just watching anything on TV. So I thought, I thought that was kind of a really great episode there. You even have an episode like with kind of a character like Isaac, who's the captain of the team. He has his own like little episode where he kind of develops more about his game and learning what the game is all about. That I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I think this, this season is, really, more expands upon the characters, gives them a lot more to do,
Hmm.
and I think that that's pretty nice to see. And one of the big kind of things is also with Nate, who got promoted. In the first season, he was what was he like? Just a ball boy,
Oh,
right?
he was basically like the club boy. He was the guy who like was in charge of setting up the field for practice and like washing all the guys' uniforms.
Yeah. So now you have a new Nate in here as well, who's like Will. And so Nate now, now he's kind of a coach. Now, he's kind of getting a little bit more shine, and he's kind of getting addicted to that a little bit. He's a guy that
Hmm.
has always had trouble. You saw in season one, he got bullied and picked on a lot, by players on the team. Specifically, Jamie was always specifically one of the guys that did that to him. And so you see him now that he's getting this press and people calling him the Wonder Kid, and now he's trying to be figure out how to be more assertive and how to really capitalize
Hmm.
off his fame. And for a guy that has always been so minimized in his whole life and never been seen, this is kind of a big moment for him. And so to kind of see where his kind of character goes and starts to see where it kind of to turn a bit, because he starts to treat Will, who's like the new club boy, the way that
Yeah,
Jamie used to.
yeah, it's a case of the bully becoming the bully. And even if I thought and initially when I saw it, when I got to the finale of season two, I thought it felt a little sudden. But I was rewatching a couple episodes from season one last night, and there were little hints of that turn coming all along. And I think uh, I don't want to get into it with that because that'll probably be a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, but to see where that kind of character goes is very interesting and very good, and it
Hmm.
the leads to surprise some good stuff that's going to come up in season three. But yeah, I mean, I really like they did with that character. That was very nice. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this season quite a bit. I like what they did. It really
Hmm.
expanding upon more of the characters. The drama stuff that they added is always really good. It doesn't ever feel cheap or it feels like good real life stuff that that really impacts people, and it's not
Hmm.
ever used in a bad way. So yeah, I really enjoyed this season quite a bit. I'd give it a strong 8 or 9 out of 10 for me. What about you?
Yeah, goddamn. I thought this season it kind of had the impossible task of having to follow up just how wonderful the first season of Ted Lasso is, and I can confidently say that this is a perfect season of television. This will just this season alone, it'll probably go up there with stuff like the fourth season of Dexter or the third season of Daredevil with me in terms of just how how it balances that constantly growing of each character and culminating into a finale that at times it was having me laugh hysterically, but also making me cry, which I think very few shows are capable of doing. I absolutely adored the season. It is a confident 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when they do dramatic moments, it hits and it hits very well.
Mhm.
And then the actors do a very, very good job of portraying that and how they can go from both comedy and kind of that dark nature of things is very nice. Yeah. All right. So moving on from Ted Lasso season two, we're gonna discuss Train to Busan. So it's our spooky season, our first spooky season movie of the month here. So Train to Busan. I've never seen this movie before. I've always been meaning to check it out. Always heard great things about it.
Mhm.
It is a South Korean film here, and it is a zombie film. So a zombie virus breaks out in South Korea. Passengers on this train struggle to survive when they're going from Seoul to Busan here. And this movie came out all the way in 2016. I didn't think it came out
Mhm.
that long ago. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Thank you, Javon Good. Thank you for the lurk, man. Really appreciate that.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you, man. And so yeah, I can't believe it came out like that long ago. So I was kind of impressed by that. And the guy who's the star of this, you also just recently saw him in Squid Game. He was the guy that
Yep,
was,
Gong Yu. Yeah, Gong Yu, who played the salesman in Squid Game, the guy who starts recruiting people for that.
yeah. So yeah, you see him here. He plays a fund manager who's basically selfish. He's got a daughter. He works as one of these.
You didn't have to say selfish. You just had to say he's a fun manager.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, a situation where he works a lot, and he misses his daughter's recital, and of
Yeah,
course,
he's kind of like the stereotypical Disney dad, the guy that I hate you, Dad. You work all the time.
yeah, you know what I mean. He's working, what I mean, making money, but the daughter, she wants him to come to her recital, a recital that she won't
Mhm.
even probably remembers that she'll have 10 years from now. But okay, whatever. You know what I mean. So she's that's important to her. So he feels bad, and he kind of has his nature. So, and they end up hopping on this train when this kind of zombie virus kind of breaks out, and I think kind of this is kind of very cool to see these characters experience this zombie kind of virus happen
Mhm.
when it's in this closed environment. It's this train, and you see
Mhm.
it start to kind of kind of first erupt and everything like that. I think it's pretty cool because it's in trains, this tight enclosed space where you can't escape.
Yeah,
I think adds a lot to it. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and that was kind of one of the strengths of this is its cinematography. It was because even though it is in this train, this very tight, very enclosed space, I don't think the film it only ever feels claustrophobic when it needs to, when that is kind of the intention of the scene. Because I think I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff. They were like take panels off the train so they could get some of the longer tracking shots in it, and it is cool because there's a lot of inspiration with this and stuff like World War Z, stuff like 28 Days Later.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much inspiration with that. Because this is kind of mid, kind of way fast, kind of zombies. They're not. I don't think the super fast zombies like in 20 days. Like 20 days later, they were running a marathon. Those zombies in that. This one,
Yeah, it was like that zombie virus is mixed with Usain Bolt's DNA.
yeah. This one not so much. They still kind of run after their victims pretty much. Also, like with the zombies, when they bite them, they bite their victims and they start to get turned into a zombie. They start popping and locking. They get up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like this, yeah, you first get introduced in this really creepy shot where you see this woman that's turning, and you see her like contorting just constantly as she's changing into a zombie. And fun fact, that was actually the physical actor doing that.
okay, yeah, because that was pretty nice to see kind of the transformation there. You also have some more characters in here. You have an actor named May Dong Suk.
Yeah, Madong Suk, who is going to be in the
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
yeah, and you have Ma Dong Suk, who's playing a character named Sung Hwa, who is the best character in this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he's kind of
And
the. Oh yeah,
yeah,
good.
he is Billy motherfucking badass.
Oh yeah, I mean he's the big bruiser
And
here and everything. Yeah.
yeah, and it's cool that actor is getting more work because he's gonna be in the Eternals.
Oh right, yeah, he is gonna be there. Yeah, I mean Eternals and everything like that. Oh yeah, okay. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, he's from by far he's one of my favorite characters here. I mean he's just knocking the zombies out left and right. I mean he's just kneeing them, elbowing them, punching them straight up in the
He just
face.
yeah, he's like everybody's running. Just let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You know what I mean. He straps the pads to his arm to make sure he doesn't get bit, and he's just knocking people out. You know what I mean, saving people. It's like yeah, you know. And I mean, he's definitely not like the guy, the kind of the lead of the movie at first, where he's just kind of like, okay, I'm just caring about my daughter. Fuck you, I'm gonna
Yeah,
close the door on you.
yeah, dude locked the door on a fucking pregnant woman. It's like, yeah. Initially, I was like, man, fuck you.
Yeah, and also,
Like very much like with another character who that is in this movie, who's like the higher level executive that you see later on in the movie.
yeah, and with kind of this movie, you have kind of some of the zombie movie kind of tropes here with characters. Like you always have to have the coward. You got to have kind of that typical kind of coward character there. You got to have a pregnant woman is typically usually a character you'll see in a zombie movie. As a pregnant woman, old person you'll see there. You also see kind of like you said the big bruiser kind of guy there that you'll see in a zombie movie that really knows how to handle himself, like Vin Rames and Dawn of the Dead or something like that. So you kind of have those traditional, which also had a pregnant woman as well. Also had a coward as well, and also had an old person in that as well. It had also a lot of those elements too as well in that movie.
Yeah, and yeah, nobody is gonna accuse this movie of being original, but I think it's a radically different in execution.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the execution of it's a lot of fun. It's very fast paced and not in a bad way. I think it just
Oh, yeah. It's fast paced, but at the same time, it gives you very brief moments to breathe and let these characters develop. Especially Gong Yu, who is Seokwoo, who's played by Gong Yu, who the guy from Squid Game. He initially starts this movie kind of like the very selfish guy that you see in a lot of these movies. But the longer the movie goes on, the more you see him trying to help people, the more you see him develop and kind of nearly mend his kind of broken relationship with his daughter to the point where at the very end of this movie, I've watched this movie 4 times and I have cried like a baby 4 times once I get to the end of this movie.
yeah. It is a very emotional ending, beautiful ending, and seeing this guy kind of develop as more as a character throughout it, and kind of connect with this relationship with his daughter, and yeah, I mean you see kind of the people eventually kind of the people you like get picked off one by one, and it's that's zombie movie kind of thing, zombie movie rules that happens. And they have to kind of get to this. Always in zombie movie, you always have to get to this destination because it's like the destination. This is the safe point. This is a safe zone. So as long as you get here, then you're all good. And also, like they kind of introduce cause sometimes when things like zombie apocalypses start or anything like that, they always cell phones stuff like that. It always gets portrayed as like they're always just knocked out. Like you can't use cell phones. This one they use cell phones throughout the movie. Because I guess realistically things wouldn't shut down all that much in a day, just in that day in that span.
Yeah, it's like cell towers, unless somebody is like climbing them and zombies are taking the shit down. They'll probably last for a while.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So you can use. So I thought that was kind of cool. People could still use cell phones and everything like that in it and still communicate. So I thought that was nice. They did kind of add that in there. But yeah, I mean this is a hell of a fun ride of a movie. You can see it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $2 there. It used to be on Netflix for a long time. It's not on there anymore. Maybe I guess it depends on what region you're in. But I know because I live in the United States, it was on Netflix for a long time. But yeah, I mean, really great zombie movie. Had a lot of fun watching it. Really great performances from a lot of people there. I love kind of the zombie stuff that they do. Zombies. I mean, even though like there's some scenes where the zombies are breaking through the glass of the of the subway, but then there's all of them on in the car, and then but they don't break through that one glass that is the last car there in the train. I was like, why don't they just do that? Since there's still a bunch of them, but stuff like that. But I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is a very very strong zombie movie, and very very good. I'd give it a strong 9 out of 10.
Hmm. Yeah, for me on the show, I like to save 10. I like to save the tens I give, the very few tens I give for the stuff that I find the most rewatchable. The stuff that, no matter how many times I revisit it, it still hits me on those same emotional beats each time. And this movie absolutely does. This is kind of like Coco for me, where I say, you know what, this time, not this time, not this time, not this time, and then I end up crying.
Mm.
But yes, the movie it's so fast paced without ever feeling like it's rushing anything, because the zombies, this is like almost 2 hour movie, and the zombies, they come in 15 minutes in, and that's when basically shit goes off the rails. No pun intended.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
But I like the because I think a lot of the cultural stuff, a lot of it wouldn't really translate outside of South Korea, because there are themes. But I think this is one of the movies that does it beautifully. You have themes of like class division. You have themes of selfishness. One of the interesting things about this is one of the characters, you could, in a very roundabout way, Gong Yu is responsible for this zombie outbreak, because it's like towards the third act, it's revealed that, yeah, one of the companies he invested in as a fund manager was responsible for it.
Well, I mean, I
Which
mean,
which I think is which is a different, interesting addition to kind of a zombie film.
okay, yeah. Yeah, very terrific film. Yeah, very wonderful. I'm glad finally got to watch it after all these years. Yeah, I'm finally glad I checked it out. Yeah. So I put up a poll today and had people vote on it. Put up a new list of movies, movies that we've never seen before, never reviewed on the show before. So very interesting. Yeah. So I'm be interested to check out a new horror movie I haven't seen before. I might put on that list Hocus Pocus. I've never seen Hocus Pocus. Don't think so. Never seen that. So I might put that on one on the list as well. All right, so we're gonna be getting out of here, people. Great show. Next week, we're gonna be doing Halloween. Halloween Kills. That's gonna come out there next week. So we're gonna be doing that. I'll do maybe a Saturday show. We'll review Halloween Kills. Probably no Friday show. But Saturday, gonna be doing Halloween Kills. Also, the Netflix show is on its third season, the popular show. So gonna be discussing that as well. And that's kind of the two big things for right now. I know that we're going to be definitely discussing Friday. And we're going to maybe try to bring the stream queens on. They love the show that's on Netflix, so maybe try to bring them on to also talk about it.
Oh yeah, the first two seasons of the show are the trash TV that I love.
Yeah, and Sexy Beast, that's got a season 2 out. Yeah, I might just watch
And
that.
that is the trash TV I despise.
Yeah, I might just watch that for fun tonight. Yeah, I might watch that. Sexy Beast, the show where they dress up hot people in these weird ass
Yeah,
costumes.
you have a very weird definition of fun.
Yeah, I laughed a lot the first season, so maybe this season provides some good laughs as well. Those are the two big things that we're gonna be talking about next week. Nick, where can people find you, man?
You can find me Twitter, Instagram at Night and Day Nick. Gosh, where can they find the show?
So the show is on all the socials: TikTok, Afternoon Tune; Instagram, Afternoon Tune; Twitter, Afternoon Tune; Facebook, The Afternoon Tune. Also, we're wherever you listen to podcasts, so Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. On Apple, if you can, leave a 5-star review. That helps boost up the podcast, everything like that. If you want to check us out, we're on YouTube, where we have a catalog of all our videos, clips, things like that. And you can also check us out there, youtube.com, The Afternoon Tune. You can also check us out, of course, streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Afternoon Tune, where we'll be streaming typically every Friday, Saturday. I'm going to be trying to also stream throughout the week, playing some Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl if you want to match up with me there. Also doing some more horror stuff. Dusk, he's going to be maybe backseat gaming with me, playing some Resident Evil since he's a huge Resident Evil fan. So I mean, maybe trying doing the RE2 remake, trying to beat that game, finish that game. So maybe he's going to be doing some backseat gaming there. I'm going to be maybe trying to do that Wednesday, Thursday. Try to play some Resident Evil there. So check out that streaming there. Good people there. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed listening. And don't forget to always stay tuned.
Stay tuned.